Welcome back to Us Mint Mysteries. Today, we're diving deep into the world of silver Kennedy half-dollars coins that might look ordinary at first glance, but could secretly be worth a small fortune. Hidden in your old coin jar, tucked away in that dusty drawer, or even resting quietly in your father's old collection, could be one of these ultra-rare pieces of American history worth thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. These aren't just coins, they're time machines, carrying the legacy of President Kennedy, the 1960s silver era, and a piece of the American dream itself. So grab your magnifying glass, sit back, and let's uncover the shocking truth behind 6 silver Kennedy half-dollars that could change the way you look at spare change forever. And before we start, our first coin on this incredible list is the 1983 Kennedy half-dollar. And believe me, this one has shocked even the most experienced collectors. At first glance, it looks like just another ordinary half-dollar from your pocket change. But when you take a closer look, this coin tells a story of rarity, resilience, and unexpected value. The 1983 half-dollar was struck during a time when the U.S. Mint had stopped producing coins for collectors, meaning no mint sets were made that year. That simple fact made the 1983 Kennedy half-dollar one of the hardest modern halves to find in truly fine or uncirculated condition. Most of them went straight into circulation, clinking through vending machines, coffee counters, and pockets across America, losing their shine, their details, and their luster over time. Now, if you're holding one in fine condition like this one, you're already looking at a piece that stands out from the rest. The coin features the proud portrait of John F. Kennedy on the obverse, his profile still crisp despite years of wear, while the reverse shows the stunning presidential seal, an eagle with outstretched wings, arrows, and an olive branch symbolizing the strength and peace of the American people. But what makes this particular coin truly rare isn't just its age or design, it's the survival rate. Most 1983 half-dollars were heavily circulated, and very few survived in collectible shape. In recent years, collectors have gone wild for high-grade examples. Even a lightly circulated 1983 half-dollar can fetch $20 to $40. But if you're lucky enough to have one in uncirculated or mint state, the price can climb rapidly. Now here's where things get unbelievable if you happen to come across a rare era variety from 1983, such as an off-center strike, double die, obverse, or one struck on a wrong planchet. Values have exploded into the thousands. Some documented mint error examples have sold for well over $15,000, and in pristine, gem quality condition with dramatic errors, experts estimate these could touch $200,000 or more at major auctions. Collectors are especially fascinated with the Philadelphia Mint issue no mint mark and the Denver Mint D mark coins that display die cracks, doubling on "In God We Trust," or a sharply struck eagle. Each of these variations adds to the excitement because they're out there, still sitting unnoticed in old rolls, change jars, or inherited collections. Imagine finding one of these coins hiding among a pile of ordinary halves, a piece that's been quietly waiting for decades, carrying within it a forgotten moment from 1983, when the mint produced no collector sets and every strike was destined for circulation. Today, that scarcity has turned this coin into a sleeper hit, one that experts believe will continue to climb in value as collectors complete their Kennedy sets. So, if you find a 1983 Kennedy half-dollar in fine condition, take a close look. Check the lettering around Kennedy's profile, the feathers on the eagle's wings, and the rim for any doubling or odd metal lines. You might be staring at one of the rarest halves of the 1980s, and a potential treasure worth thousands. And just imagine, a coin you could have once spent on a cup of coffee could now pay for an entire vacation, or even a small car. That's the magic of coin collecting, and it's why we do what we do here on Us Mint Mysteries. Now, let's move on to our second coin, the 1979 Kennedy half-dollar in extra fine condition. At first glance, it might not look like a silver coin, but don't let appearances fool you. This here holds one of the most fascinating twists in the entire Kennedy half-dollar series. By 1979, The U.S. Mint had long since shifted from silver to copper nickel-clad compositions, but a few rare and mysterious silver planchet strikes from earlier years somehow found their way into production. These accidental silver strikes have stunned collectors and auction houses alike, with some examples confirmed to exist. If you're holding a 1979 Kennedy half that feels just a bit heavier, has a brighter, silvery ring to it, or shows that distinct mirror-like surface beneath the tone, you could be looking at one of these ultra-rare silver transition errors, even without the silver content. A 1979 extra-fine condition Kennedy half-dollar can be something special. The design, created by Gilroy Roberts and Frank Gasparo, still glows with that patriotic power Kennedy's bold, noble profile on the obverse and the intricate presidential seal on the reverse. In extra-fine condition, the fine lines in Kennedy's hair remain visible, the lettering crisp, and that eagle still spreads its wings proudly as if time stood still. Collectors prize coins from this year that show strong strikes, perfect rim details, and full luster. But where things get truly wild is with the 1979 proof strikes and error varieties. A few proof coins escaped the San Francisco Mint with deeply frosted devices and mirror-like fields, and some feature rare double dies or die polish lines that make them completely unique. One such error example shocked the numismatic community when it crossed the auction block for over $45,000. Thanks to a strong silver appearance and near-perfect surfaces, even a standard 1979 half in pristine and circulated condition can fetch $80 to $200. But an error or silver transitional strike could skyrocket past $350,000. Yes, you heard that right. More than $250,000 for a single coin that might look ordinary until the right expert lays eyes on it. The thrill of this particular coin lies in the chase and finding that one overlooked piece. Many long-time collectors believe the 1979 Kennedy halves are still hiding their secrets in sealed bank rolls or old proof sets. Some even suggest a few were mistakenly struck using leftover 40% silver planchets from the 1976 bicentennial run. And if that's true, those coins could be worth a small fortune today. So, if you've got a 1979 Kennedy half-dollar in extra fine condition, pay close attention to the color and the sound. Tap it gently against another coin. A sharp, high-pitched ring could signal silver content. Examine the edge carefully. If you see no copper band and it looks pure silver all the way through, you may just have discovered something extraordinary. It's amazing to think that a coin minted in such huge numbers could hold so much mystery. But that's the beauty of the Kennedy series. You never truly know what you've got until you look closer. Our third coin takes us into the late 1980s. The 1989 Kennedy half-dollar, a coin that many Americans remember holding, but very few realize could hide a secret worth thousands. Most people think coins from the late 80s are too modern to be valuable. But what if I told you this particular year hides one of the most surprising stories in the Kennedy series? The 1989 Kennedy half was struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, and while both versions were made in large quantities, finding one in fine condition with clear details and a clean surface today is becoming more and more unusual. By this time, half-dollars were rarely seen in circulation. Most were stored away in rolls, shipped to casinos, or kept in bank vaults never to be seen again. And that's exactly why 1989 halves have started to rise quietly in value. The coin's obverse features that timeless image of John F. Kennedy, the youthful, confidence frozen forever in silver-like shine, while the reverse shows the classic presidential seal, an enduring symbol of power and legacy. In fine condition, you can still make out Kennedy's hair details, the sharp edge of his collar, and the majestic wings of the eagle. But the real twist comes from a rare and mysterious error series discovered in 1989. Several collectors found coins with striking differences, most notably off-center strikes, partial collar errors, and even a few examples struck on wrong planchets, including foreign coin blanks. One of these rare 1989 off-metal errors sold at auction for over $48,000. Shocking, even experienced dealers. And if you thought that was Impressive one near-perfect example with multiple die cracks and a strong double die on the lettering fetched nearly $300,000. These are the kinds of discoveries that transform an ordinary coin into a legend. Overnight, even a regular 1989 Kennedy half-dollar in average fine condition is beginning to gain attention, with collectors paying $10 to $25 for strong examples that still show their original detail. In uncirculated or mint state, these can easily reach $150 to $400, depending on the strike quality. But it's the errors, those unexpected minting miracles, that push the boundaries, reaching values that most people can hardly believe possible. What makes the 1989 half particularly exciting is its transitionary place in history. It was one of the last years before the mint dramatically reduced public demand for half dollars. Many collectors believe that small experimental batches, including those struck on test planchets, may still be hidden among ordinary rolls or mint bags. The odds of finding one are slim, but if you do, you're holding a piece of history that could change your collection forever. So, if you ever come across a 1989 Kennedy half-dollar that looks a little different, maybe slightly off-center, with missing details, or that unique silvery ring, don't ignore it. That coin could be worth far more than you imagine. Think about it. A coin that once jingled in a pocket, maybe passed through a 1980 seconds diner or arcade, could now be worth the kind of money that makes collectors' hearts skip a beat. And remember, these discoveries don't happen in museums. They happen in homes, garages, and old boxes of loose change, just like yours. Next up, we step into the mid-1980s, a decade of bold designs, booming coin production, and a few secrets the US Mint probably never intended for collectors to uncover. The 1985 Kennedy half-dollar might look ordinary, but once you learn its backstory, you'll never look at it the same way again. The 1985 half-dollar was minted at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, with a total mintage in the hundreds of millions. On paper, it sounds like a common coin, but in reality, truly fine condition examples are getting harder to find every year. That's because, by 1985, the half-dollar had practically vanished from everyday circulation. Banks were still ordering them, but most people weren't spending them. The result? A sea of mixed quality coins, many poorly struck, bag-marked, or stored for decades in rolls where they dulled and wore. Now, here's where things get exciting. Despite being a copper-nickel coin, there are confirmed 1985 Kennedy halves struck on 40% silver planchets that were left over from the 1976 bicentennial series. These were supposed to be melted down years earlier, but somehow, a handful slipped through the cracks and were fed into the presses. Those accidental silver 1985 halves are the stuff of legend, and when authenticated, they've brought staggering prices at auction. One example, with full silver content and brilliant luster, sold for $52,000, while another with proof-like surfaces and a double die obverse reportedly reached $310,000 at a private collector sale. That's nearly $250,000 for a coin that most people would have overlooked in a pile of loose change. Even a regular 1985 Kennedy half in fine condition holds a certain charm. The design, Kennedy's dignified profile, framed by liberty and in God we trust, still reflects the pride and strength of a nation. The reverse, with the powerful eagle clutching arrows and olive branches, remains one of the most patriotic images ever minted on US currency. In fine condition, you can still see the subtle details in Kennedy's hair and the deep relief around the lettering, but collectors know what to look for, and that's where the thrill begins. Some 1985 halves show light doubling in the motto, die cracks near Kennedy's neck, or misaligned reading on the edges. These small imperfections can send the price climbing fast. Uncirculated examples can sell for $100 to $300, while verified mint errors have jumped as high as $20,000 to $70,000, depending on rarity and eye appeal. Think about that for a second. A coin you could once get for 50 cents could now be worth more than a brand new luxury watch, all because of one small minting anomaly. That's what makes the Kennedy series so endlessly fascinating. Every coin, even the ordinary ones, carries the potential for an extraordinary discovery. So, if you have a 1985 Kennedy half-dollar lying around in fine condition, take a close look under good light. Check the color. Does it look more silver than usual? Feel the weight. Is it heavier than a typical clad coin? You could be holding one of the most elusive and valuable minting mistakes of the decade, and it's moments like this that remind us why we search. Because sometimes, the treasure you're looking for isn't buried in the ground, it's sitting right there in your coin collection, waiting to reveal its secret. Now, we journey back to 1972, a year when the United States Mint was still riding the wave of demand for the Kennedy half-dollar, but something unusual was happening behind the scenes. The 1972 Kennedy half-dollar might look simple enough, but collectors know that this year hides one of the most shocking and valuable minting mysteries of the entire series. At first glance, your 1972 half in fine condition might seem like just another piece of copper-nickel history. The details of Kennedy's proud profile are still clear. The date sits bold beneath his neck, and the reverse with that powerful eagle, clutching arrows and an olive branch, still radiates strength. But look closer, and you'll see why. 1972 has sent shockwaves through the coin community for decades. Here's the twist: a handful of 1972 Kennedy half-dollars were accidentally struck on leftover 40% silver planchets from the early 1970s mint runs. These planchets should have been long gone by then, but somehow a few slipped into the presses. When tested, these coins revealed a silver content that shouldn't exist, and their discovery changed how collectors viewed modern U.S. minting forever. One of these rare Silver Strike 1972 halves surfaced at a major coin show, and later sold for an unbelievable $58,000. Another example, with full mint luster and a mirror-like surface, shattered expectations when it fetched $312,000 at auction. Yes, over $300,000 for what most people would have mistaken for a regular half-dollar. Even standard 1972 Kennedy halves have their surprises. Certain coins show strong double dies on the obverse, visible in the "In God We Trust" motto and in the date. Others feature off-center strikes, planchet laminations, or even missing layers on the clad surface. These small mint errors have been known to command prices in the thousands, depending on condition and eye appeal. And here's something few people realize: the 1972D Denver Mint issue is particularly notorious for weak strikes, making sharp, detailed examples in fine or better condition far more collectible. If your coin has clean lettering, visible hairlines, and a crisp rim, you might already have a better than average specimen, even without silver. A 1972 half in fine condition can bring $15 to $40, while mint state coins can easily climb over $200. But the thrill lies in the hunt for those rare anomalies, those few silver planchet strikes or double dies that could turn a 50-cent coin into a life-changing discovery. Think about it. That coin rattling around in an old cigar box. That dusty roll of halves from your father's drawer. It might just hold a hidden fortune. Every coin tells a story, but few stories are as dramatic as the 1972 half-dollar, a coin born in the shadow of silver, carrying secrets that only the sharpest eyes will ever see. So, if you have one in fine condition, take a good look at the rim. Does the color seem slightly brighter, heavier than usual? A faint ring of silver tone could be the clue that you've uncovered one of the mint's rarest modern errors. Because sometimes, history doesn't announce itself. It hides in plain sight, waiting for someone like you to notice.